All right, so for today, as with every day, right, we need our bag for this week's kit. We need our CSI IMAG edition bag. And in that bag, it's getting much more empty now. We're down to the last few things these last couple days. So it's easier to find things. You want to pull out your Thursday bag rather. So pull out your Thursday bag because we are going to need the papers inside of this bag. So that's one thing you can go ahead and fish out of your kit. And then we will be doing, well, you know what? That one's kind of bulky. We'll leave that in there. We will start with these first. So just go ahead and grab that. And then make sure that you have not only your kit, but your art supply bag handy as well. Okay, so you can grab those. Okay, so how are we doing on time? Honor, can you give me an audio check? If you hear me, can you type a response in the chat? All right, thank you, Anna. All right, well, while we, oh, there we go. We've got another one coming. All right. So from our Thursday bag, remember we have a separate bag with all of our papers for each day of the week. Since there were so many papers for this one, grab your Thursday bag. Good morning. Pull that out. On the top, you have your mini mystery for today. Okay, so we can pull that out and we'll go ahead and start with that. So you have a little something to ponder while I'm sure a few others are they're signing in, rolling in. So one evening, as Max was out walking, Mrs. Zenit called his name. He hurried across the street. She was standing in her front yard, but she guided him around to the back. I was watching TV in the living room, she told him, and I heard a crash. Just look. She pointed to her back porch window. Someone threw a rock through it. It's broken into a dozen pieces. Do you know who did it? He asked. No, she replied. He ran off. But I think maybe it was David Loring. We had a spat the other day because I told his parents he had to stop using my yard as a shortcut. But I wouldn't accuse him of breaking a window without more proof. I'll talk to him, Max said. He found David painting as he bounced a basketball under the light on his garage. Did you just run from Miss Zenit? Max asked. Did you break her window? David shook his head. No, I'm all out of breath because I've been here shooting baskets. I don't know anything about a broken porch window. You're not telling the truth, Max said. How did Max figure it out? So from our other mini mysteries this week, we figured out that Max is a pretty clever character, and he always seems to be in just the right place at just the right time. So how did he figure it out this time? That's your mini mystery for today. So each day you've had a new mini mystery. Think about that one. And remember, you have this in your pocket, so you can reread it and see what clues you can collect as you read the story. See what information Max may have been able to compile to figure out how he knew that that David did it. All right. So I'll set that aside. And remember, you also get a new spot the difference every day to test your observation skills. And the easier way is to look at both pictures at the same time. And for those of you looking for even more of a challenge, remember we recommended you can fold it in half and look at one picture for a long time and see how much information you can take in, pay close attention to detail, and then flip it to the other image and see if simply from recall you can manage to spot the differences. And each one tells you how many differences. So they've been increasing all week long. So now we're up to 11 in this one, 11 differences in this image. So see what you can do to spot those differences in the two photos with the hot air balloons. And you can test your skills. Okay. Now, one of the things we can do today, we have our CSI bingo sheet. There we go. There we go. So you technically have two different bingo cards here, and you can choose to ensure that they're all different. You get to choose any of the terms in the word bank below your specific bingo card and write them in the box. So you can grab your pencil from your art supply bag, because remember, we always keep this handy in addition to your kit for the week. This week's kit is CSI, Crime Scene Investigators IMAG edition. So you want to have that kit handy and our art supply bag. So in your art supply bag, you can grab a pencil and go ahead and write those in, and we can play a round of bingo later if you'd like. Okay. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of time to do that. And that's something we can do after we have some more fun with our Thursday morning activity. So you had a very busy morning. Actually, we've crammed a lot into every morning. Yesterday I felt like was especially full, and we have lots to do this morning too. So I think I'm going to roll right into the next activity, and we'll come back to the bingo in a little bit. Okay. So the rest of your packet, you have a mystery powders and liquids tracking sheet. So this is going to come in handy for the next activity, which is in your bag, in your kit. In this one's in a gallon-sized Ziploc bag because there's a lot of goodies in there, and it's labeled mystery powders. Okay, there's one large baggie labeled mystery powders, plural, with paper plates, all sorts of portion cups full of liquids and powders, and even a pipette. Do you see that? We have a pipette full of indicator in there for you, prepackaged and ready to go. The other item you're going to need to fish out is the smaller separate bag that's labeled mystery powder. Okay? So our challenge this morning is to figure out what this mystery powder is. Okay? In order to get there, we are going to start with this mystery powders experiment. Okay? And that will help us to collect the information that we need to then observe this specific mystery powder packaged separately. Okay? All right. We've still got, you know what, because this one, let's see. So go ahead and set your mystery powders bag on your table where you're going to be working. We have a few more joining. Okay, great, excellent. All right. Good morning, everybody. I'm glad to see you this morning. All right. So you guys know the drill. We've been doing this for a while now. Grab your kit. Make sure you have it nearby. Grab your art supply bag. We definitely need that today. Okay. And so far what we've done, guys, is pull out our Thursday baggie with all of our papers. All right. And when you pull it out, the very front is that mini mystery for the day. Okay, we reviewed that together with those that were signed on already. So you can go back to this and read this, or hopefully we'll have time. I'll read it again at the close of our session before we sign off. All right. And then, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna do something else that's fun first. So let's go ahead and pull out your box. Okay, so this is the thing that's been sticking out of your bag all week, taunting you, this cardboard box. So go ahead and pull that out. Okay, and I'd like for you, since we're just getting stuff out of our bag, go ahead and there's a mini Sprite bottle in your bag, okay? And I'd like for you to go ahead and just get that out and set it with your mystery powders, okay? So set these two down. There we go. And then you're down to, oh my goodness, just one big baggie left and a small bag, and fish this notepad out of there for me, okay? So you have your CSI notebook, you have your confidential notes notebook in your bag. So go ahead and fish that out with your kit. Your box is going to become your CSI kit. So we'll go ahead and package that up before we roll right into our mystery powders experiment, okay? I'll go ahead and do this while my table is clean. All right, so you've got one flat pack cardboard box here. If you look at the lines on the box, it's going to help you fold it. So the white is always going to be on the outside, and the brown is always going to be on the inside, okay? So I'm going to start with the white side down and the brown side facing up. All right, then we're going to fold the very front flat end. So pull that end towards you and fold that up, okay? There you go. So we're going to fold that there. All right. Then you see the back will do the same thing. So you can take that whole flap and bend it forward, and you've got a nice crease. Okay, so now this is where I'm folded, guys. See this? Okay. There we go. We can fold those tabs in, and this is going to give our box some structure, okay? So you can hold one end as you fold that end up. So here I've got, you can hold those two flaps, fold that up, and what's going to hold them together, you won't have to dig into your tape yet, is simply folding the cardboard over top, okay? So that flap then holds those wings in so they won't pop back out again. So now you've created the side of your box. All right, and this is going to give us a place to put all of the things that we've been using all week, because remember I said, hang on to those, you can continue to use them. We didn't use everything up. So this is going to give us a place to keep them. There we go. So I'm doing the same thing on the other side. Can you guys see that? There we go. And then there's a tab that goes right into the slot on the bottom, and that's what's holding it down. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. All right. So, and then to finish the lid, make that fold, and you've got one last fold on the front, and that'll let it pop right in and stay closed, okay? So this is now your CSI kit. This is your crime scene investigators, your forensics kit, where you can collect all of the supplies you've been using. Add your notepad, so you can use that. You can add one of your pencils, okay? And then grab the bags that you've been using if you want later, and you can put some of these in there. So let's see. Our ink pad. Good morning, ladies. See our ink pad? We can throw that in there, right? This will keep all your things together. You don't have to keep all the separate baggies anymore for the activities we did Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. The ever important magnifying glass that we used to inspect our fingerprints, inspect those ridges, inspect our lip prints when we made those. All right, and then our fingerprint powder. Instead of graphite, we used, remember we said we like a very fine powder for a fingerprint so that you can get all of those details. And cocoa is perfect for this, a very fine powder, and you get nice contrast on lighter surfaces. And we were using index cards for that, so that worked really well to transfer our print with the clear tape onto the index card. If you have an index card or two left over, I had one left over. Oh no, look, I had two left over. So you can grab those and you can drop them in there too. And the paintbrush, okay, that we use to gently, very gently brush the tabs. Did we get Anthony in? Okay, great. All right, excellent. Thank you.
Excuse me, what do we need?
Yes.
What do we need?
Okay, so today, Anthony, you need your kit because there's still some things in there that we're using. If you have any of your things that we, from the activities we already did, you can grab those too. You don't have to sort things right now. You can just grab the whole thing and make sure you've got your art supply bag today, okay? So have both of those things handy at the table, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, look, I wasn't as messy as I anticipated. So I still had one baby wipe left from our fingerprinting. So I'm going to put that in there too. And for dark surfaces, when we did our shoe impressions, we used flour, right? So we got a really nice shoe print on our black paper, okay? So this is from my backup kit. This is not the one that got messy. I could put this in here too, but I'm definitely gonna put my flour in here so that I have a dark and a light fingerprint powder if we need, okay? All right. And we could always use our clear tape. If you have an extra roll, you can put that in there this week. Just know that you're gonna wanna make sure that you, when we're done with CSI week, you're gonna wanna make sure you put your scotch tape back in your art supply bag if you do pull that over this week, okay? All right, so now I can really get these bags out of the way. There we go. Oh, I even had some Q-tips left over in my lip print bag and bite impression bag. I won't put my bite impression in there. I don't think I'll need that again in my kit, but I will grab these Q-tips. Those could come in handy. Okay. There we go. So Anthony, we were assembling our CSI kit, which was the great big cardboard box that was folded flat and sticking out of the top of your bag. We simply folded that and put that together. Oh, you already did, look at that. Quick, great job. Okay, so anybody want to show me your CSI kit? You want to turn your camera on and show it off? There you go, nice work, guys. And it's got plenty of room to collect all of those things in it. Very nice. Thank you.
What do
She's
we
got
need to
help.
put in it?
So in this, you can put any of the supplies we were using this week. And in the bottom of this bag was a little notebook. Okay, a top secret notebook. So toss that in there, and you can put one of your pencils in that we were using to do our witness sketches, our facial composition, images, to take notes in our notepad. Oh, our magnifying glass, that was an important thing to collect and put in there. The ink pad that we used for fingerprinting. He got it. He made it, even though he joined us afterwards. He got it. He did a great job. Anthony got his box put together quickly. I put in two extra note cards that I had. Okay. And then the paintbrush and cocoa powder so that you can lift prints. We had our fingerprint powder, and we went ahead and put in the extra flour that we had left over, if you had any left over from doing your shoe impressions.
Wait, the cocoa powder?
Well, you have the cocoa powder that was left over from our fingerprint activity, and then the flour from when we did our shoe print activity. Okay, so you can put both of those in there, because remember we talked about sometimes they'll use different powders for fingerprinting depending on the type of surface. If it's a dark surface,
Can we use the mystery powder?
You want the mystery powder, I want you to set aside on the table because we're going to use that next, okay?
Okay.
So set the mystery powder aside, and then also the big baggie that says mystery powders with an S on the end, because we're going to do that one next.
They've been asking about that bag all week.
Oh, good. And I even waited a little bit for the last couple of people to sign on. So we put together our CSI kit and collected all our goodies in there. And then you guys can go back later. And that's why I said you probably want to have your art supply kit handy, because you can decorate it however you would like. You could even use the tip of your pencil to poke a hole. So take this part out, you could even poke 2 holes and use a piece of yarn or string and tie a knot on the inside, or a couple of knots to make it big enough not to slide through, and make a little handle for it and turn it into a little mini briefcase if you'd like. Okay, so that's something you can play with later. All right, but now that collects those things and gets them out of the way, but has them neat and tidy and accessible should we need them later. Okay, because you guys have been working all week on solving the IMAG crime scene and collecting your evidence all week long. So you're gonna need this, all right? Okay. Make sure I'm catching all your questions. All right, good work, guys. And so now, after all of the mystery all week as to when we were going to get to this bag, we're finally going to get to this bag. Mystery powders. It's time. All right, and because they're powders, remember we talked about this with fingerprinting, they're fine particles, so they can make a little bit of a mess. So be prepared for that. Part of why I decided to do this activity last after we put together our crime scene kit. All right. I think we might want to mute. There we go. All right. Okay, so we can go ahead and pull out your paper plate from your mystery powders bag. Do you have a paper plate in there? Everybody see that? It's a little folded up. That's okay. It'll work just fine. Woo! Thank you, Anthony. Woo! There we go. Got away from me. All right. Perfect. Now, get my other stuff out of the way. And let's pull out. We have portion cups in here. Let's pull them all out and lay them out on our table. Remember, we like to have some space. So go ahead and set your things out. Lots in here. This bag was loaded down. Your kit is so much lighter after all this is out. And you can go ahead and fish out your Sprite bottles. There's one last heavy thing in there. That's the Sprite bottle that was all the way down at the bottom of the bag. So you can get that out too. You're going to use that today. Okay. So we've got lots of cups here with lids, the portion cups that we've been using to package things to get them to you. Pre-measured. All right, I'm just going to get that out of my way. You don't need that big bag anymore. Okay, so you can use your plate and you can use some of your cups from yesterday's activity or anything that you have at home to get a little bit of water. So you will need a little bit of water. I got some to have handy at my table. And we will need some clear soda. That's what we have our bottle of Sprite for. So Emily, we're doing the mystery powders activity. So that was the big bag loaded full of all of these little cups, okay? And then there was one separate bag that just says mystery powder that wasn't in the big bag with the others. You keep this one aside, so we don't want to use this one yet. This is the one we're going to try to identify later based on what we learn here, okay? Because this is actually part of our crime scene investigation. So set this one aside. Perfect. That's the one, guys. See it? Yes. Oh, you got your water? Good job, guys.
Do we need this much of water?
Yes, that's a good amount. Yes. That will give you enough to clean your pipettes between transfers and to do drops of water on some of your powders. Okay. Perfect. All right. So and you know what? Maybe it's the mom in me, but I always like to have paper towels or a towel nearby in case I'm not I might be a little more clumsy than you are, but if I do knock over my water or anything else, I want to be able to clean it up. So not a bad idea to have those handy, okay? All right. So we have our paper plate, we have a cup of water, and we have all of these cups of powders and liquids in front of us. In our Thursday bag, earlier I showed you this mystery powders and liquid tracking sheet. So this is the page that we're going to use for this activity. And we can use one of our pencils from our supply kit so that we can complete that as we go. Because remember, we're all about making observations, and we want to take the time to record those observations because we've learned about how hard it is sometimes to recall things if they didn't seem important enough at the time or they just didn't stand out for us. You did some of that in your eyewitness activities. We did some of that actually even in the drawing piece that was that made things more challenging, right? Human nature can make these things very tricky. So we give ourselves all the assistance we need and try to record our observations so that we don't have to rely on that recall, okay? All right, did everybody see the mystery powders bag? I think we got it now. So it was mystery powders, not this mystery powder, the separate one. We're setting that aside because we need that one later. We need all of these that were in this bag now. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 portion cups in front of you that were all in the same bag. All right. And then, yes. So you have vinegar.
Yeah, the vinegar smells awful.
It smells. I love the smell of vinegar, but I know
Really?
most people don't. Maybe because I really like salt and vinegar potato chips. I love the smell of vinegar. All right. So you can group your liquids together and powders. So you can look at them and see. We've got several white powders here, okay? All of which are labeled. We have baking soda, we have flour, we have powdered sugar, and we have laundry detergent. So we have 4 white powders, and we have 4 liquids in our bag. We have the vinegar, the lemon juice, ammonia, and iodine, okay? 4 powders, 4 liquids. All right, and we have our paper plate and cup of water. Okay, so now we can make piles of some of our powders because we're going to start testing them. So let's start with, so flour, sugar, baking soda. Let's start with these. Let's start with these 3. So flour, sugar, and baking soda. Okay, so you don't have to use what's left from your shoe impression activity. We gave you another cup of flour. So you got that there. So what I'd like you to do is gently sprinkle out 3 little piles. And what I'm gonna do is that I can keep track. Remember how we marked our coffee filters yesterday when we were doing the chromatography? I'm gonna go ahead and do that now and mark where I'm putting my flour, okay? So this one's gonna be flour for me. And I'm gonna make 3 little piles so that we can test it with some of the different liquids and see what happens when they combine. Okay, so there we go. I've got 3 little piles there. It's white on a white plate, so I don't know how well you can see it from here.
The 3 little powder the same powder as the thing? Is it the same one? I'm putting flour.
Yes, yes, flour. Yep, that's the one you need.
Okay, do we have to do 3 little
3 little piles of the same thing. So you want 3 little piles of flour, okay? And then I'm gonna do 3 little piles of baking soda. Okay. Get my lid off carefully. There we go. Little pile there, little pile there. Okay, so 3 separate small piles. They don't have to be big heaping piles. Just enough for you to add a drop or 2 of liquid, okay? That's all. And I'm making sure that I put the proper lid right back on my container. You don't have to necessarily put it in the bag if you don't want to, but you do want to make sure you get the right lid on the right container, since the lid is what says what's in it, okay? That way you don't confuse. They're all white powders. So you want to be...
Do we put the baking soda on top of the flour or a
separate pile? So I marked a little separate space on my plate. Let's see if you can see this. Try to figure out how to show the camera without tipping my plate. What's my last one? So I'm going to do powdered sugar, and I'll show you what I've done here, Anthony.
You guys are frozen?
Oh, did our video freeze up on you?
Hello?
I'm not seeing you anymore either, Anthony. Hopefully you're...
Hello?
I hear your audio, Anthony. I just lost your video there. Okay, but you do, Anthony, you were doing it correctly. You've got 3 little piles of flour. Then in a separate part of your plate, you're going to make 3 little piles of baking soda. And then in another spot, you're going to do 3 little piles of powdered sugar. Getting tongue-tied this morning. All right, and the powdered sugar clumps up, so that's okay. That's why those of us who have used it baking, we usually have to sift it, right?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm putting my lid right back on so we can keep track of everything. There we go. I warned you I was messy. All right, and clumsy. Okay. So now that I've got my piles and I've got them labeled, I'm not relying on my recall. I'm making it easier on myself by taking notes as I go. Okay. I am going to move my mystery sheet tracking. I'm going to move that out of the spill zone just in case. I know my limitations. All right. So you can go ahead and observe your flour, observe your powdered sugar, observe your baking soda, and you can write a description of those powders on your sheet. So one column has the sample name, right? One column says description. Go ahead and describe those powders. Do you see a difference in the color? Do you see a difference in the size of the particles? Remember we were talking about whether a powder is a solid broken up into very fine pieces, very small pieces, but some can be smaller than others. So look at the particle size, the grain size, and see what you think. That can help your description. So color, size, texture, perhaps.
I just
Okay.
sugar powder. It's just in balls, in like tiny balls.
Yes.
And the flour is just soft, smooth, and the baking soda is like has like a little salt, like a little like.
Yes, it does. It looks more similar to salt. Yes, yes, it is. And the powdered sugar, so what you were describing as balls, that the clumps or balls, it definitely does want to. We talked about the cohesive properties of water yesterday when we were doing the chromatography and how the water molecules like to stay together. And so as they were traveling up the page, it was, a molecule would move up to fill in a pore in the coffee filter. And that made the next water molecule want to come up with it, right? And the next one and the next one. And it dragged the ink right along with it, so that the cohesive properties, you can see those in solids too. And powdered sugar, has more adhesive properties between the particles, okay? So they want to clump together. Whereas the baking soda, as Anthony was describing, it just kind of spreads more into the pile, like if you poured a bunch of salt on the table, okay? So that is a very keen observation there. And then the flour is almost in between the two, okay? And observe the color differences too, because while they are all white, what does the shade of your flour look like compared to the other two? Okay, so you do flour, baking soda, and powdered sugar was the other one we were doing, Emily. So powdered sugar was the third one. Flour, baking soda, and powdered sugar. And you can go ahead and fill those out. Okay. And so this is the sheet we're filling out. I think everybody got that. Yes. Thank you. Mr. Matt's gonna make it nice and clear for you. There you go. So that's the one that was in your Thursday bag that you can use to keep track of these notes. Okay? Great. All right. So now we have our pipette has a little nub on the end, if you see that. And this is because we used it to go ahead and transport the indicator liquid.
Hello.
Oh, there you go. Rotate that so you can see. So we actually burned and crimped that end so it would seal it and keep your indicator in your pipette. Okay?
You guys froze on me?
What was that?
Hello, you guys froze on me? Hello?
Oh, Anthony, you're losing your video again. I'm so sorry, buddy. Okay. We can still hear you though, Anthony. It's okay. You'll come back. Okay. All right. So your universal indicator is in your pipette. You can use this to test some of your liquids, and then you can use the pipette to transfer water on your others. Or look, we can just take our cup of water, gently dip your fingertip in, and on one pile of each, you can check your water. So get a little bit of water, see what happens.
Okay, I'm back.
If you drop, there you are, back with us. So you can use your fingertips if you'd like to go ahead and drop a little bit of water on one pile of each of your powders, okay? One pile. There we go. So in my baking soda, my powdered sugar, and my flour. Okay? So see what happens when the liquid and the solid powder mix, and see what you observe, okay? Because remember, we're tracking this information to help us solve the IMAG crime scene. All right? And so the first liquid we added to one of each of those piles was water. So one pile you added water. And I'm going to go ahead and on the edge of my plate, so in the center I put what the solid is. I'm going to put on the edge what the liquid is. So I'm going to put H2O there. You can just put a W. Okay. There we go. So I know which pile I did what, and we can write our notes right now. So see what happened when the water combined with the baking soda. See what happened when the water combined with the powdered sugar, and see what happened when the water combined with the flour. And you can write down what happened when the water was added. So you have your description of just the powder, then add your description of what happened when you added water. Okay? Now, let's do the stinky one. All right, actually, I'm going to put my water over here because I'm less likely to knock it over there. Thank you.
Is that the vinegar?
Yes, I got the vinegar. I got the smelly vinegar.
Why?
Okay.
Why?
You can grab a napkin, have that handy. Okay. And you can do the same thing with your finger because these are safe. You can, or you can look. Yes, there you go. You can use your gloves. And go ahead and drop that on. Whoa, I just dropped vinegar on my baking soda. And something happened, guys. Check that out. I'm going to do my vinegar on my flour. Okay. And now I'm going to do my vinegar on my powdered sugar. Okay. And I'm going to write a, wow, well, one of those was incredibly remarkable. I'm gonna write a V.
That is so weird when you put vinegar with the baking soda. Like bubbles.
Yes,
Yeah.
right? So what did you observe there? You observed bubbles. So that indicates a chemical reaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's excellent. All right, so we saw those bubbles. That's definitely something you want to record on your observation sheet. So go to your vinegar column. So we wrote the description of what happened when we mixed the water with those 3 powders. Write what happened when we mix the vinegar with each of those. Okay? All right. Okay, now we're not gonna let our powders have all the fun. Let's have some fun with our liquids. Because we're gonna pull out your lemon juice. So we have our vinegar out, we have our lemon juice. Let's do that. And we have our ammonia. Okay.
Yeah, the lemon juice does smell the best, Miss G.
I'm glad everyone has one that they like. Okay.
It smells better than the vinegar. That's what I know.
And to me, it always smells like clean or summer. Okay.
Like a clean kitchen. I think moms like the smell of a clean kitchen.
Right? A clean kitchen.
So I'm biased to the women.
All right. So let's test.
Ammonia is so strong, it made me cry.
So the ammonia, you don't want to be sniffing your ammonia. That is very strong, right? So you can keep that one closed up. We don't need to use that one yet, okay? But if you just kind of take the lid off and then just rest it on the top, then you can get ready for the activity and go, and then you can cut. Remember I showed you the tip of the pipette where it's burnt and crimped? That's to keep the liquid in. So now I don't want to keep the liquid in anymore. Now that we're ready, I'm going to carefully snip the tip off of there, okay? Using my scissors from the craft supply, the arts and crafts supply bag. All right, so now I have an open pipette. Okay. All right. So now what I'd like you to do is put a drop of the indicators. This is universal indicator. And this indicator is going to give us an idea of the pH of the liquids that we're going to test. So whether it'll tell us whether it's an acid or a base or if it's more neutral, okay? So I'm going to add a drop there to my vinegar. And let's see. Oh, there we go. Right there. Watch that, guys. What did you see?
It changed.
What did you see when you did it? It changed color. You saw a color change there, okay? All right. And now with our lemon juice, I'm going to do a drop there. Change color. Watch for the color you see. So we saw red in the vinegar. We're seeing red there in the lemon juice. Okay. And now I've taken my lid off and just rested it on top of the ammonia so I can test the ammonia as well. And that's a clear one. So make sure you get a good view there.
Purple.
Whoa. Purple. Okay. Purple. All right. So now you can set this down. Okay. And then go ahead and write your, so your universal indicator is the second to the last column. And you can go ahead and write what happened there. And you can also use the indicator on the other powder sample that we did on our plate. So that baking soda, there we go, on my flour, okay, and on my final sample, my powdered sugar. Look at those colors, okay?
On the flower, it looks weird. It's orange.
It does, very different than the other two, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's going to give us the pH, okay? So that's going to tell us the pH scale. Let's see, I'm going to walk this up to the camera to get a good view of that. You guys see that pH scale? Looks like a rainbow there.
Yeah.
All right. So the color can help us determine how acidic or how basic, whether it's an acid or whether it's a base. And we've got the dark red is a very strong acid. And as the shade of the red gets lighter, it moves more into orange. And yellow, it's a weaker acid. When we get into the neutral range, 7 is true neutral. That is green, okay? And we saw green with one of our samples. We saw orange with one of our samples here. We definitely saw red in 2 samples over here, okay? So these are things you can note here. And based on the color, you can get a numeric value to the pH.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
What is this?
So this is called universal indicator.
Indicator.
Universal indicator. So it is a pH indicator that we can use to determine how acidic or how basic a substance is. Okay?
Okay.
And then as we get into blue and purple, we are more basic, with purple being the most basic. So which of our liquids was a base? Did we see purple in any of our liquids when we dropped in the universal indicator?
It was anemia, I think.
The ammonia, yep, the ammonia was a base. Okay, so you can write that it turned purple, and you can write that it's a base if you'd like. And that purple gives us a pH of 14. That's a very strong base. Yeah. Okay. And the most acidic that we saw, so you had 2 liquids that turned red, right? Which were your acids?
Lemon juice.
Lemon juice, very good.
Vinegar.
And vinegar. So we had 2 acids in this bunch. So write your notes so that we can use that to help solve our IMAG crime scene mystery. And same with our powders, okay? And then this is the fun part, because I get to, you guys are going to tidy up your mess here. You can test, let's see, I'm gonna set those aside. Yeah, you can keep these samples, okay? And you can clean up your mess so that your parents let you come back tomorrow.
Yeah.
You can put your lids back on. So you don't have to
away this one?
You can. So, but what I would like you to do is, when you're done with this indicator, you can go ahead and rinse out that pipette, because you can use that for water if you want to test some of your powders again. Okay. All right.
Miss, I can't hear you.
Are you losing audio? All right, guys. Well, that's our fun for this morning. You guys are going to come back at 11 o'clock for our science show, and then at 1:30 with your teachers. Okay. So thank you for joining us for CSI IMAG edition, and we'll see you all in the morning.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes. What you got, Anthony?
What's the Sprite for?
Oh yeah, because you can test your Sprite on your liquids too, your clear soda on your liquids. Okay?
Okay.
And see what happens when you combine them. So you can use the fingertip method because we know that Sprite is safe to have on your fingertips. Or when you clean your pipette, you can do that as well. And look, I can test the pH of the Sprite too. What does that tell us, Anthony? Anybody see that? Kamaria, Tiana, what do you guys think? What does that tell us?
Something might happen, like it's like Mentos combining with Sprite. Wait,
So what color did it turn?
red.
Red. And what did red tell us on our pH scale?
It's strong.
It was a strong acid, right?
So Sprite is a strong acid.
It is a strong acid. Okay. Excellent. And most sodas actually are. That's why sometimes they'll use them to clean
How about this?
off car batteries and things.
How about this
Yes?
That's why you should not drink soda, guys.
There you go.
Water.
Anthony, grab some Pepsi. So you can use so put a little bit of the Pepsi in a cup and you can use your indicator to see. It's just harder. A dark liquid is going to make it harder to see. So you just want to get a little bit so it doesn't look as dark and see if you can tell a difference. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you guys. So that should get you started and you've got more fun with your teachers this afternoon. And you can join us at 11 o'clock for the live science show. All right?
Good. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
All right, guys, listen, their science shows are already in our Google Classroom under classwork. So just go ahead and go into that to click on those links to find it. We'll see you guys at 1:30 with Miss G and Mr. Toll. We'll have the supply list around 1 o'clock posted for you guys. Also attendance. If you did not log in and do attendance, it doesn't count that you were here. So please log into the Google Classroom and get your attendance done. Thanks,
Bye.
everybody. Thanks, Imaginarium.
Thank you. You guys have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.